So I'm Alex Agius Saliba, 36-year-old. I'm coming from Malta, a lawyer by profession, also a dad of a 4-year-old girl, Amelia. And this is my second mandate here in the European Parliament, and also my second mandate serving as Vice President of the S&D Group, responsible for communication, campaigns, and the digital dossiers. So I started involving myself into politics at a relatively very young age. I was still 15 years old. I started involving myself in youth politics, student politics. I served as Secretary General of the Socialist and Democrat Student Organization in Malta. One of the most beautiful experiences that I had at the very start of my involvement in politics, which left a mark for the rest of my career, was when, as a youth movement within the Labour Party, we pushed forward for the introduction of divorce legislation in Malta. We were a small group of youths within the Labour Party who were campaigning, and ultimately we succeeded to push forward the referendum to take place, and ultimately a referendum which we won against many struggles to divorce legislation in Malta. Maybe this was a right which was taken for granted in a number of member states, but for us, until 14 years ago, this was a right that we had to really fight hard for. I really don't have a lot of time for pleasure reading, but 6 hours practically flight time every week, coming and going from Brussels to Malta and back. So I try to use that time also to do some pleasure reading. And the last book that I read was The Little Joys in Life, a book which ultimately makes you appreciate more the little things that you have, the small things that we have in life, with which usually we don't appreciate so much. As a community, we have to appreciate more the little joys that we have around us to live happier. Probably I would be a lawyer, fighting battles in court. This is my profession, but definitely I prefer politics. Although I am a lawyer by profession with a specialization in competition law, I never practiced as a lawyer. I always worked more in the political sphere, and I will never change that if I have the opportunity to continue to serve. My daughter, Amelia, this is my biggest regret when it comes to my political life and the way that we work. We have to travel every week, so something that I miss on a daily basis when I am here in Brussels, because she lives in Malta. So I always try to keep a picture with me of her, apart from using technologies on a daily basis and platforms to be able to communicate with her as much as I can. I always like to bring up this example of the fight that we began as a political group during the last legislature, where we started, for example, when it comes to digital, from a Wild West. When it comes to these big platforms, people were laughing at us 5 years ago, telling us, how can you put forward legislation and Meta or X or Instagram or TikTok will ultimately bow their heads to your legislation or change their business model in accordance to the legislation that you are pushing forward, moving forward. But ultimately we managed to do so because of European legislation that was novel not only for us as Europeans, but was novel for other continents, and which is right now being replicated in other continents. So these are all positive examples of the work that we are doing when we are united, when we are ambitious, and when we ultimately follow our beliefs and our principles.